What's up, everybody? I'm Miranda Alcaraz, and this is the More Than Nothing podcast, episode number 10. I feel like we've done 100, but this is just number 10. And here we are today. It's just me. And at least right now, in the moment that we're filming this or recording this, it is November 1st. The first day of November. We've got 2 months left in 2019. And I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions, which it's like, well, wait, what? I don't have to think about that for 2 more months, right? The Instagram post that I have chosen to rant about today is a post that I did on December 31st of 2018, the day before everybody proclaims how they were going to be better and how 2019 was going to be their year and what their goals were for the new year. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, why are we talking about this right now? Well, yesterday I did a post about how if whatever goals you're planning on making in January are so small or don't mean as much to you that you are willing to wait for 2 months to start, you're probably going to fail. So if you know right now that you're going to have a goal to lose weight, and it means so little to you that you're willing to do nothing about it until January 1st, you're probably going to fail at that task. And because you need to choose stuff that's meaningful to you. And if you can't find meaning that is strong enough to make you want to change, at least in some small way right now, then you need to find new and different goals or a new and different why behind those goals. So I'm going to read the post that I did on December 31st of 2018, and then I'm going to find what my goals were for 2019. We'll see how I've done, how I'm doing, and talk about some ways that for the next 2 months you can get a head start on those changes, and not even a head start because January is not the starting line. Right this moment is the starting line of the rest of your life. So no reason to put things off. Even if you have to start small, you can start moving toward the you that you want to be literally right now. So you can start by listening to this entire episode to get motivated, okay? The post said, before setting your 2019 goals, address your 2018 excuses. So everybody loves setting goals. I have a weekly goal setting thing that I'll put in my story or sometimes posts. A lot of you guys will post them too. You'll use the little template that I put in my story and you'll share your goals with me. And it's fun. I mean, setting goals is like the exciting part of this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to crush it. And you picture your life after you do it. And that's like the really exciting part. What's not as exciting is going back and figuring out why you don't already have those things in your life or why you're not already that person in the first place. So what I wrote with that post was, do yourself a favor. Take a moment and write down every single reason you haven't already achieved what your goals are for this next year. Then practice some self-awareness with a side of reality and realize this. Unless your life drastically changes today, every single one of those reasons will still be there tomorrow. So this is something that you can do with your 2019 goals. You can go back to what you set out to do this past January. If you've achieved them all or made new habits that you wanted to create, fantastic. Good job. If there are any of those that are also going to be your 2020 goals, or you haven't even started, or you started and stopped and started and stopped, or started and stopped one time and then that was it, you need to go through your life and figure out what it is about your life that is preventing you from being able to have that or achieve that right now. Because I have a hunch that most of your lives are not going to drastically change in the next 2 months. Unless you hit the lottery or get some massive big promotion or change your genetic makeup or change your personality type, you're still going to be the exact same person in the exact same situation for the most part 2 months from now. Your job is still going to be demanding. It's still going to be cold outside. Your kids are still going to be there. You'll still be tired, and broccoli is still going to taste like broccoli. Some of the excuses you come up with are just that. They're excuses. And you need to lose your poor me attitude. Some are your reality, and until you alter your goals, or in the very least, your plan to reach them, the outcome is going to continue to be the same. If your goal is to be an NBA star and you're a 5'5" young man, this is like an extreme example. I'm not saying it's not possible, but we got to have reality in our goals. If my goal is to become a CrossFit Games athlete at 37 years old with 2 kids and while running a business, it's not that it's not possible, but I'm going to have to drastically change my current lifestyle to make that even remotely a possibility. So I either need to change what the goal is, or I need to change my reality and my whole lifestyle to go around it. So you've got to, if your goals are that way, while it might sound nice, you're either going to run out of steam, run out of time, or just realize that it's not realistic and give up. So there isn't anything that you come up with that is too big to overcome. If you're busy, find 30 minutes, not 2 hours. Use your lunch break, get up earlier, or do something as soon as you get home. I was specifically in this post talking about fitness, obviously, and most of this episode will be about fitness, but it can be really put into any area that you want to be able to dedicate more time and attention to. Are you overwhelmed by meal prep? Start with 1 meal per day. Don't overhaul your entire diet. I can't tell you how many times I've posted about it, said it, told people, whatever. Do not overhaul your entire life in one day. And that's what people do in January. And that's where I'm going to encourage you to not do that. Start right now with 1 meal and work your way into your whole diet if your whole diet needs it, right? Where people fail in January with these big lofty goals and massive lifestyle transformations is they try to do it all at once, and you're motivated. Everybody's like all fired up in January, and it's just not realistic long-term to make changes in that way. Learn what you can. Pick up in a pinch from a local grocery store that is still clean and won't derail you. It is just as fast to walk into a grocery store and grab a rotisserie chicken and an apple and a handful of almonds as it is to go to McDonald's and order fast food. It is literally, they've done, I think back in the day, CrossFit, like this is like early CrossFit. There was an article in the CrossFit Journal about that exact thing. They timed 2 people. One of them went to a fast food restaurant to get a burger and fries. The other one went to the grocery store. Not only did the grocery store person spend less money and have food for more than 1 meal, because you're not going to eat a rotisserie chicken all in 1 meal, especially not if you go to Costco. Those are delicious. And they were back faster. So there are alternatives. Time shouldn't be an issue. Money shouldn't be an issue. It's just learning and taking the time to make those small changes. Drop the all or nothing mentality. Drop trying to make someone else's plan your plan. This is something that I'm working on big time. As a mother / business owner, I compare myself to other mothers, to include stay-at-home mothers, which that's a recipe for disaster because they're not also running a business. I compare myself as a business owner to other business owners who are mostly men and are not also mothers. And so that's also a recipe for disaster because they don't have as many responsibilities. I mean, I'm currently 15 weeks pregnant. Most male business owners, actually, I'll say no male business owners have that type of responsibility or that the birth coming up and planning all around that. So I can't compare myself to either group. If I try to do what works for Mr. Entrepreneur of the Year, 35-year-old single man running a business, that's not going to work for me. If I try to do the schedule and do all the cool things that the stay-at-home mom does and fold the laundry and all this stuff all by myself, because that's what moms do, that's not going to work for me. If I try to do the training schedule of somebody who doesn't have kids and work full time, I'm going to fail at that. So you have to make a plan that is your plan. Don't you even dare get into the 6-week transformation mindset of the new year. Instead, look at your list of excuses and create habits one step at a time to eliminating those for real and for good. So you can't eliminate that you have a job, most likely, I'm assuming. So instead of trying to eliminate, that's not an excuse, that's a real thing. But eliminating the excuse of I don't have enough time by figuring out what you can do with the time that you have. Your genetics are your genetics, so you can't eliminate that. But you can maximize what you can do with those by changing some of your habits slowly and actually sticking to things and not expecting your results to be the same as the results from Susie down the street who has a completely different genetic makeup than you do. You're trying to maximize your reality, right? So let's look at what my goals were. Salvi's in here, of course. And I actually looked at this before the podcast because I was curious how I did. And one thing that you'll notice about my goals is that they're hard to measure, which can be a good thing in a lot of ways. But people have a really hard time with it. So we'll see a lot of times in the new year, here in 2 months, we'll see like lose 20 pounds, do Whole 30 for 30 days, which I'm not bashing on Whole 30. It's just an example of something that's measurable and it ends, right? It can be work out 5 days per week. Okay, I can measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are all great and measurable. But I would encourage you to instead think of those goals in a way of, okay, so lose 20 pounds. Become the type of person who does the actions that would lead you to losing weight. So now instead of the weight loss itself and that number 20, because we all know the scale means nothing, right? Instead of that number deciding whether you're successful or not, the changes in your habits and your lifestyle changes. Oh my gosh, I never used to eat vegetables and now I eat them every single day. Regardless of what the scale says, now that's a success for becoming the type of person who lives a lifestyle that would allow them to lose weight. Does that make sense? So here were my goals for 2019. Create meaningful memories with my family. Last night, I witnessed Knox's first trick-or-treating on accident, actually, because we were just looking at some of the pumpkins on our neighbor's porch, and he was fascinated by them. They assumed he was trick-or-treating, and they opened the door. We happened to have a photographer with us, and we got photos of Knox's first trick-or-treating. That is a memory that I will cherish forever. And it happened completely on accident. And the only way that accidental cool memories can happen is if you're present when you're in them, right? We took Knox to the zoo last week. We got to take him. We went to Hawaii for business and made sure that we took time with Knox and with my parents, who we don't see as often, to spend time, even though we were crazy busy, even though it was only like an hour here and there. Was not a vacation. It was not the purpose of the trip, but we made sure to carve out some time for those memories where we were completely unplugged from the work that was going on. Julian and I took a really important trip to Mexico, just the two of us, where I literally didn't work like at all the whole time. And it was so needed and so great and so relaxing and such good memories for the two of us, which are very rare these days. So going back and going through and recounting, if all of the memories that I could remember were kind of work related or not things that we made happen on purpose, I would say that this wasn't too much of a success. Could I have created even more meaningful memories with? I mean, we always can, of course, but I do feel that at least for the last 11 months, 10 months, that I've been successful at creating meaningful memories with my family. I've been really conscious of being present with Knox. So where this is, I didn't say create one meaningful memory per month with Knox. Check the box, right? I wanted to become the type of person that could be present when I'm with my family. And those meaningful memories can be literally him singing Old MacDonald at the breakfast table this morning and me actually being there to witness it and not on my phone or on my computer. Or it could be, like those trips. So becoming the type of person to recognize those opportunities was really the goal. The second goal that I had was use my voice to help as many people as I can. This one's, again, hard to measure. Besides all the super awesome DMs you guys send me about thank you for this episode or thank you for that post or thank you for this and that. I have been committed to it the whole year, even in my no makeup pregnancy vlogs and my crying miscarriage vlogs and my, growing belly workout videos. I feel that I have done a good job at maintaining my goal of not putting a message out there that just makes me look cool and gets likes and comments and followers, but actually is helpful. And that was the goal for that one. I don't even like to think of street parking growing as part of that because that sounds salesy. And even for us here at Street Parking, our goal is to further the message of teaching people that they can take control of their fitness and do it on their own. We can reach way more than just the members that we have. So I do feel that I can do that. Creating this podcast is a great measure for using my voice to help as many people as I can. I think I did pretty good for that one. Bring more authenticity to the fitness industry. That's kind of similar to the one above it, I guess. Julian and I were joking the other night about the vlog. And I was like, I think 70% of the time on these pregnancy vlogs, I am wearing no makeup whatsoever. The authenticity thing can be hard for me because that's where I get the mean comments of, oh, you look tired, or, oh, you should probably, I don't know, get some rest, or, oh, your belly is like way bigger than most people at this point in your pregnancy. And you're just like, oh man, like that stuff. I definitely know why people are inauthentic because it can be brutal out there in the social media worlds. But again, the goal was creating a habit of authenticity and letting go of being worried about how I look in an effort to help you guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. I went and put lipstick on right before we filmed this podcast. I'm going to do little things, but I'm not going to go overboard. You guys get it. This one is definitely measurable and we cut it close, but fate permitting, make a sibling for Knox. The idea was to actually have given birth to a sibling for Knox this year. But Knox's brother will not be born until next year, but we did make it happen. Now, that one's kind of a scary one, and that's why I did put fate permitting, because taking it back to you guys and your reality, this is something that is largely out of my control. So have a baby is great, and that is a great goal, and a lot of you out there might have that goal, but understanding that not all of these things are in our control. It's like going back to genetics with weight loss, like literally writing down, I want to look like, I don't know, who looks good, Salvi? I want to look like, you go super fitnessy or super not. I use J-Lo, but whatever. She's getting old. I don't know why I always use, I looked up to her. I want to look like a CrossFit Games athlete, and you have to just understand your reality, again, your genetic makeup and things like that, where that might not happen. Getting pregnant might not have happened for me, and for 9 months it looked like it wasn't going to. And at some point I can't measure my success on checking the box of that exact thing. So there are definite goals where it's like, hey, I'm going to do everything that I can in my control, right, to make this happen. So some things that I had to do was I lowered my intensity in my workouts as though I was already pregnant. I ate a little bit more and stopped worrying about being quite so lean as though I was already pregnant. Everything that's in my control. If you have a goal to get more fit or lose weight, you might not be able to control what your body's going to look like at the end of it or once you've been doing it for a while, but you can control the inputs. We can't always control the output. Luckily, obviously, I was able to get pregnant, but people have a hard time with it or are incapable all the time. all you can do is what you can do, and then you can move forward from there. There were other ways that I could have brought a sibling for Knox too. We could have gone through IVF if we needed to, or talked about adoption, or just decided that we were okay with just the three of us or whatever. So that goal is a little bit more check the box measurable, and I am glad that I put fate permitting, because we always have to remember that we can only control what we can control. Share more of who I am as a woman and a mother. I mean, I think of all of those, besides making a sibling for Knox, I guess, that is one that I do feel that I've been pretty successful about, been pretty open emotionally and things like that. There are no goals on here that were to have a certain number of members for street parking. There were no goals on here that were to make a certain amount of money, hire a certain number of people. Not that I think that this is a bad goal, but a certain time on a workout or weight lifted or anything like that. I wrote both of these posts before I ever did the More Than Nothing post, actually. And I wrote both of these posts before I started reading one of my favorite books, that if you have no other goals the rest of this year, is to listen to the book Atomic Habits, because it talks exactly about what I'm saying, where you need to become the type of person who achieves these things, not just try to achieve these things. And I know that can sound confusing. It's like, well, what's the difference? You can control the input again. So if you become the type of person who works out every day, what does that type of person do? Well, that person goes to bed at a decent time, because I know that if I'm going to fit in a workout, it's got to be in the morning. And if I'm ever going to be able to wake up early in the morning, I've got to go to bed. And that person sets everything up in the morning so that they can be successful in waking up and getting right into it. So it might be laying out your clothes. We have members who sleep in their workout clothes to make sure that they don't miss a workout. Set your coffee machine timer. Create the environment that that person needs to make sure that those things are happening. So bringing it back to why are we talking about this in November is because, once again, what I said in my post just the other day, if you're not attached to your goals so strongly, or attached to the idea of changing your lifestyle so strongly that you are totally fine with waiting 2 months, then the first step that you need to do right now is establish why you want to do that in January at all. Why you think it's going to mean more to you then. Why you think it's going to be a better time for you to do it then. Why you think your life is magically going to fall into place, and all of a sudden your job's not demanding and your kids are less rowdy and messy and it's less cold outside. Like, it's not going to be true. So start addressing what those excuses or reasons or realities that you have right now. Why aren't you doing it right now? Write that stuff down and start going through what can you eliminate, what can you do a better job of controlling, and what do you need to just accept and work around. Go through those. Get the Atomic Habits book. It's really good. Just listen to it on audio, because if I just try to sit and read, I promise I'll fall asleep. Audio book it while you're driving around and decide one thing. So what I did put in the post earlier this week was pick one thing, not the whole thing. Pick one thing. So that might be, I'm going to eat vegetables once a day. I don't eat them at all. I'm going to eat vegetables at one meal every single day, and I'm going to do it for 2 weeks. And once I've proven to myself that I'm a vegetable eater now, because I eat vegetables every day, because if you eat them for one meal every day, you eat vegetables every day now. And you've shown that you've done it for 2 weeks. You know what? I'm going to eat vegetables at 2 meals, okay, I'm just going to keep the veggies. I'm going to drink half my body weight in ounces of water now. I'm going to keep the veggies. Now I'm drinking the water. And now you're becoming the person that you need to become to reach those goals. Instead of, I'm going to go to the gym every day. That sounds crazy for anyone who has any sort of a life. I'm going to move my body in some way outside of my norm every day. So as cheesy as that sounds, that might be going for a walk in your neighborhood and keeping it to at least 10 minutes. It might be I hate to say the like taking the stairs thing, because people think that those types of things are not enough. But if it's, I'm going to take the stairs for 10 minutes every day at lunch, and there's like a set time, and for 2 weeks every day you never let yourself down for that. Now it's like, okay, well maybe 3 days I'll do the stairs and 2 days I'll do like a little mini workout in the gym at our office or in my office or in the break room or whatever. Or instead of when I get home, I'm going to plop right down on the couch, I'm going to go for a walk. The moment that I get home, I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk. And then after 2 weeks, that might be, I'm going to go for a 15-minute walk. Or it might be 2 of those days, instead of going for a walk, I'm going to try actually going for like a little bit of a jog. Or it might be, I'm going to stay at my home and do some burpees and air squats and push-ups for 10 minutes and just set the timer. And I encouraged in my post that I did earlier this week not to extend the time past like 20, 30 minutes at the most, because the bigger window of time or the bigger the change is that you're trying to achieve, the less likely it is to stick, just because it's changing too much at once. And I encourage you guys not to change more than one thing every 2 weeks. So pick one thing every 2 weeks and make yourself earn the next change by sticking to the one that you chose for 2 weeks. If you can't stick to one change for 2 weeks, how could you have possibly expected yourself to stick to 5? If you can't do something for 10 minutes every day for 2 weeks, how could you have possibly expected yourself to do something for an hour every day for 2 weeks? Make yourself earn it by taking those baby steps and proving to yourself that you are going to stick with it and that you're not going to let yourself down, and make them habit related, not number on the scale related, income specific related, or anything like that. Become that type of person. So I wanted to give you guys a 2-month lead time before January 1st to, in the very least, start thinking about these things and writing those lists and figure out how you're going to overcome those obstacles so that you can actually have success in 2020. Not from January 1st to January 20th of 2020, but throughout the whole thing, taking those baby steps. What are there, 52 weeks a year, Salvi? So you'll have 26 if you go every 2 weeks, right? 26 little changes that you could make, changing one thing every 2 weeks. Can you imagine how much different your habits could be if you changed one habit every 2 weeks for an entire year? That's 26 habits. That's a lot. People try to change all 26 in one day. It's never going to happen. Hope you guys have a great November. The holidays are coming up. Add that into your reality, work around it, and have a great week.